What was it?
It's a mystery wrapped in a riddle inside an enigma.
Gimme. I need.
Well, we're back, everybody, from our hiatus. Check out the uniform. That's so great. So we're doing top 5 movies of 1991. And before we do, I just got to say, 91 for me was like an especially great year in all of pop culture, especially music, it was my coming of age years. I was 13, and all these big bands out of Seattle like Nirvana and Pearl Jam. And then you had like the hip hop explosion out of New York with Beastie Boys and Tribe Called Quest, which also went along with my obsession with basketball at the time, which of course was the Jordan era, unstoppable Chicago Bulls. And then of course, you and I would play basketball all the time. We'd go see movies in the theater. I would make cassette tapes with my favorite songs and make you listen to them, which was the start of Johnny Radio. That's what I called it back then.
Which was payback from all the tapes I made you listen to when you were a little kid.
Oh no, but I enjoyed all that. The John Williams soundtracks, man, it was great. You would even speed up at certain parts of the soundtrack, or in the case of Guns N' Roses, Paradise City, you would always drive fast at the end and time it to where it ended perfectly. Remember that?
Yeah.
Good times, man.
Definitely good times.
So we saw the blockbusters in the theater too that year. So it's going to be interesting. I think we'll have maybe 2 in common on this one, but we'll see. So you want to start?
At least one.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay. Yeah. My number 5.
Yeah.
We've done this one before, of course. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Ooh. Good pick. It is not on my list.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be on your list. Kevin Costner, Morgan Freeman, Mary Elizabeth, whatever.
Master Antonio. Yeah.
Yes, and Christian Slater, and not to forget the evil Alan Rickman.
Rickman with yet another great villain performance.
Yeah, another great villain performance. It was almost like he was the comedy in the movie.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. The whole thing with, I want to carve his heart out with a spoon because it will hurt more. Yeah.
I mean, multiple great lines. Also a very long movie. It was over 2 hours.
Right.
Costner likes long movies.
Indeed.
Last year was Dances with Wolves.
Yep.
Before that, it was The Untouchables.
Yep.
So, like, Costner's riding this wave right now. It seems to be like his time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, there may be another Costner film mentioned on my list as well from the same year. So, yeah, the only thing I would say is that Costner, I don't even think he tried to have a British accent in this movie, did he? Or I know he got a lot of flack for his performance in Robin Hood.
Yeah. This was like, it wasn't Earl Flynn, obviously.
Right.
It was still a light movie.
Yeah. I mean, totally a popcorn movie.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Freeman was great in the movie, playing the Mormon guy. The beginning was a little, dark when they were in the prison and stuff like that.
Yeah, the prison escape was cool and all that.
And stuff like that. And, his father being killed and stuff. But after that, when he first met John and the other outlaws, and he had to fight him and stuff like that. It was like, It was
It was a fun movie. Yeah, I can't remember the actor who plays the friar. He was great too. You know, he was
yeah,
just
I remember
he
when,
loved drinking beer the whole time, and
yeah, right, yeah, having a good old time and stuff like that.
yeah,
And they actually had a real camp in the forest and stuff, up
right,
in trees and stuff.
yeah,
And that was another line where Rickman goes, Celts.
yeah, right. And then there's a cool cameo from Mr. Sean Connery too in there. So
Yes,
at
as
the end,
heard, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, cool pick. Okay.
If you like Robin Hood movies, this was a really good Robin Hood movie. It was a fun Robin Hood movie. Maybe not as fun as Errol Flynn Robin Hood movies, but it was a fun Robin Hood movie.
Yes, indeed. So my number five has a little bit of the Robin Hood adventure, but in a kind of sick, twisted, dark way. It's The Fisher King, directed by Terry Gilliam, starring Robin Williams, who is someone who basically has lost his mind and is homeless and believes that he's searching for the Holy Grail. And
Yeah,
it's
that was a good movie. It wasn't on my list.
yeah. Jeff Bridges plays the kind of, I guess, straight character who befriends him begrudgingly and realizes that he actually unknowingly had a hand in how he ended up, which is kind of like a sad, dramatic part of the movie, but it has a lot of fun. Williams, of course, was great and hilarious and fully nude in the movie a few times, which was interesting. But yeah, a great weird Terry Gilliam movie, as they all are. So yeah, I had to have it on my list. So yeah, I know we talked about it on the Robin Williams episode already, but so what's your number four?
My number four is the other movie you mentioned, JFK.
Ah, okay. I have it higher on my list.
Yeah, so Costner outdid himself with this one. This is over 3 hours long.
Yep. But it keeps you engaged the whole time, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is the mother of all conspiracy theory movies.
Yeah, and the mother of all conspiracy theories, probably. I
Yeah,
mean, to this day, you know, most people believe, and this movie had a hand in that, you know, really pushing it and taking liberties with, you know, making it feel almost like a documentary at times.
yeah. I mean, Stone did a really good job of like merging real film with old film.
Yes. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and there was he had a lot of great supporting actors too in the movie. I mean, Gary Oldman,
Yeah.
Pesci, Tommy Lee Curtis. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. John Candy, even, you know, you had some people that you wouldn't imagine playing these roles, but he was like a perfect ringer for the part he played. And
yeah,
then, yeah, so many people, Jack Lemmon, and they all played like these characters that were only in the movie for maybe 10 minutes total time, but it added to the story. And what made it cool too was like the music, which sometimes feels over the top, but of course it's by our favorite composer, Mr. John Williams. It like makes it super dramatic throughout. And yeah, and then the whole thing with the Donald Sutherland, his 10-minute cameo,
Mr. X.
Mr. X, yeah, he's the one that really sells the conspiracy theory, because by that point we're halfway into the movie, you're seeing all these things of like maybe, and then that, like, if you didn't believe, you might at that point.
Yeah,
So
yeah, there was really a lot of good points in there, and obviously, Garrison wrote his own book,
right,
movie based basically on his book, And then it was also based on another book, The Trial of the Assassins.
Uh-huh.
Jim Mars, I think it was.
Yeah.
M-A-R-S.
Yep. But yeah, with like all Oliver Stone movies, he's not a director that leaves it for you to think. He really pushes his agenda in it, obviously,
Yeah,
which, some people didn't like about it, but
it's arguably one of Stone's best directing jobs.
yes,
And
absolutely.
it's probably also Costner's best acting job.
Yeah, I would say so too. Even like he did have an accent in that one, a Southern accent, because it took place in New Orleans, I guess. But
Orleans, not Orleans, Orleans.
yeah, right. He did pretty good actually. And Sissy Spacek playing his wife, she did good as well.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of people.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I had a slip before I said Tommy Lee Curtis. It was Tommy Lee Jones.
right. Yes, exactly.
Person Tommy Lee Curtis.
Yeah. Tommy Lee Jones, and yeah, he was great in that. And then Pesci, as you said, Kevin Bacon, even the list goes on and on. But yeah, great Oliver Stone film. So my number 4 is also an Oliver Stone movie. This guy was knocking them out left and right that year. The Doors.
I forgot all about The Doors.
Yeah, that was released the same year as JFK, which is crazy. Because, I mean, both movies, I think The Doors was over 2 hours long as well, and also felt at times like a documentary. I mean, it's the true story of Jim Morrison and the band, but it kind of, like JFK, it took some liberties in a way that I felt like it kind of painted Jim Morrison as like a creep a lot of the time, which I guess technically he was in some ways, an alcoholic, drug addict, womanizer. But he had his good moments. When it focused on the music, I felt like that was when it was at its most powerful. And Val Kilmer was amazing. Like he did his own singing and performing in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, he started out writing poetry, basically.
Yeah.
And he took his poetry and put it to music.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a true romantic, really. And that kind of shone through in a lot of his, like some of the ballads, like The Crystal Ship and songs like that. But then, of course, you had those rockers like Light My Fire and Break On Through. And of course, Ray Manzarek, the keyboard player, described him as a shaman, which that's where the movie gets a little weird and surreal, where he sees the dead Indian all the time, and that supposedly is always when he is about to do something really crazy, like pull out his thing on stage and get arrested or whatever. So yeah, it was an interesting movie, though. I really, whenever it comes on, I have to watch it because I love The Doors. So
yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. Probably not since 1992 or something like that.
yeah. But yeah, well, cool. So what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Thelma and Louise.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Not on my list.
Yeah, Gina Davis, and Sarandon.
Yep.
It was like a woman buddy travel movie,
Yes.
and it was like Thelma was like she had a domineering husband that beat her and stuff like that. So they went on this weekend binge,
Mm-hmm.
and then it turned into like criminal activity and running into all these other criminals and stuff like that.
A young Brad Pitt also shows up.
It's a young Brad Pitt who also had a Southern accent in this movie.
That's right. Yeah, that was the thing in '91, I guess.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they were in Arkansas and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Then they were headed for Arkansas, Mexico, after they started to become criminals and stuff. Yeah, had some like really good shots in the movie, like the big aerial shot
Mhm.
with all the police cars
Right.
chasing them at the end and stuff.
Yeah, the big ending with them holding hands and yeah.
Yeah, the big ending there. So it was like, a female feminist thing, and then, they were like repressed in the beginning, and at the end, they became free.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that type of movie.
Yeah. That's cool that you had it on your list, especially that high. I didn't even think about it as an honorable mention, but yeah, that's
Yeah,
one that stands the test of time for sure.
yeah,
Very good. Well, my number three is one that I was thinking might be on both our lists. We'll see. The Silence of the Lambs.
yes.
Ah, very good.
So, obviously higher up.
Yes. Okay. Directed by Jonathan Demme and, of course, the great Sir Anthony Hopkins, playing probably his most revered role. He won the Academy Award for it.
At least its most memorable role.
Right. Yes. Have you seen The Father yet, by the way? The movie that came out this past year of him
Yeah,
with dementia. Okay. He won for that too, and well deserved. You should check it out, but just be prepared to be very upset after watching that movie. But Silence of the Lambs, man, one of the most disturbing movies of the decade, probably.
yeah, a very strange movie too, because uh, the movie was about using a serial killer to find the serial killer.
Right. Yeah. Very original in that way.
Yeah,
And the relationship that he and Jodie Foster cultivate throughout is interesting too.
right. Like he would give her answers based on him probing her childhood.
Right. Yeah, like he was the one getting more out of her than she got out of him, truly.
Yeah,
And then of course, the whole thing with him escaping prison was crazy. And then the Buffalo Bill character, I can't remember who plays him, but he was equally disturbing. And there's really a lot of tension in that last scene or close to the end of the movie where she's in the dark trying to find him in the house, and you're
yeah.
like,
He's like he's behind her. He's wearing the goggles, where you
right.
see in the dark and stuff. The guy
Yeah.
you're thinking about was Ted Levine.
Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, very creepy with the girl down in the well and he's saying it likes the lotion on its hands or whatever. It's so weird, man.
Yeah, well, most serial killers are weird, but yeah,
Indeed. But yeah, the ending is super great. Where Hopkins has the line, "I'm seeing an old friend for dinner," or having an old friend
yes, I'm
for
having
dinner.
friends over for dinner. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
Classic.
was good. Yeah, just the way that he acted and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And this was the first horror movie ever to win the Academy Award.
Ah, yeah, that's true.
A little bit of trivia.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was an interesting year in movies when you think about it, because there's a lot of variety, a lot of different, I mean, just the ones we've named so far. Uh,
A lot of blockbusters.
yeah.
And this movie almost made 2 hours, 118 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of long movies.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your number two?
My number two is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
See, I knew you'd have that. I almost put it as my honorable mention, but I didn't even do that actually. Um, Even though, of course, speaking of blockbusters, I mean, this was the one.
Uh, Yeah, James Cameron sequel to the first one. This was probably the best one out of
Yeah,
the series.
I agree.
They had like big breakthroughs in you know, CGI.
Special effects, yeah, man,
Yeah,
incredible.
where the new cyborg, the 1000, could change to almost anything.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
made like molten metal, almost totally indestructible.
right. Robert Patrick played that Terminator so well too. He's just like this unstoppable force, you know.
I know, and I think he even had a southern accent in one scene also when he
Right,
was
because he kept morphing into different people. Yeah,
so a lot of southern accent.
yeah,
Yeah, and then Schwarzenegger played the good guy. You know,
right.
he was sent to defend John,
Hmm.
and
Hasta la vista, baby.
Hamilton's role was like complete reversal from what it was in the first film.
Yeah,
She was just shy, and you know,
yeah. She really got in shape, and
she was as good as a Terminator.
oh yeah,
It opens up with her in a mental institution because she tried to blow up uh, Cyberdyne
right, yeah,
or Cyberdyne, whatever. And then, and plus, they thought she was crazy because she had all these uh, talking about the apocalypse and all this other stuff.
right, right.
And
But
the doctor was good in the thing too.
right, yeah. Yeah, yeah, everybody was good. I mean, even Edward Furlong, the kid who plays John Connor, you know, he the relationship that he has with Schwarzenegger in it is good, you know, and gives
Yeah,
it a little bit of
he was
drama.
a rebellious kid because he was
Yeah.
basically living alone. His mother was in jail. He was fatherless,
Hmm.
obviously from the first movie and stuff like that.
Yeah. Some excellent chase scenes like with the truck and the helicopter and and then, you know, the whole thing with the liquid nitrogen towards the end. I mean,
And
super cool.
that must have
So,
been an interesting relationship. Thinking back to the first movie,
mhm.
uh, when Connor sends his best friend, in the first movie down to protect
Yeah,
his wife, and then she gets impregnated and he dies.
right.
He's going to be born in the future. So so now he's not John Connery's best friend, he's John Connery's father.
Oh yeah, I never thought of that part. That's super weird, man.
Yeah, it is super weird. It just came to me now.
Yeah. That makes Back to the Future's mother and father situation look very tame. But yeah, well, great pick. So I know what your number one is now, obviously.
Yes.
Silence of the Lambs. So my number two was not on your list, and it's a comedy. What About Bob?
Oh,
With
yes.
the great Bill Murray and driving Richard Dreyfuss crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Dreyfus was great in the movie too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was Murray. It was like,
yeah. Murray's great and everything anyway, but directed by Frank Oz actually. And this, you know, it's just so many different situations, but just the fact that you know, your therapist goes on vacation and then you go find him and spend time with the family. It's a great setup for a lot of jokes, and Murray's just hilarious throughout. But yeah, it's great to see Dreyfus like really getting angry and losing it towards the end. And supposedly in real life, Murray was like getting under his skin when they were not filming as well, which probably added to how, you know, much they hated each other in the movie. So it was great. Yeah, but that's one that can come on and I'll watch it anytime. So that's why I had to rank it so high. It's like one of my favorite Murray movies of that decade. Um, Not quite as good as Groundhog Day, of course, but up there.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, so now my number one, obviously,
What is your number?
was JFK.
Okay.
I rank it that high because it's weird. It's like the first time I saw it, I liked it, but then it was like one of those that years down the road, it was like I had to see it again. I think because I had saw some real documentary about it, and then I was like, no, I want to see the fake documentary. That's more entertaining. And it's like I get sucked into it, man. Like,
Real documentary, was well, you saw in the movie, Stone's movie, that the government was suppressing everything.
right,
It's part of the big conspiracy. So any real documentary you would watch would then, done by the government.
right. But yeah, I mean, there's still not everything has been released, and I mean,
The thing is, even, what with the movie and stuff, not only was information suppressed, but information wasn't even taken. Like when they did the autopsy
right,
in Stone's movie, the doctor was going to do the brain thing and all this other stuff, and a general was here and he goes, "You don't need to do that."
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So yeah, there's a lot of weird things, and then just the Zapruder film alone,
yes,
that I mean, it more or less, in my mind, proves that there had to be another shooter.
right, and it had to come from a different angle.
Yes, back and to the left.
Yes.
So maybe
Obviously, the force of the bullet through Kennedy's head back, and like totally shattered, this side of his head.
exactly.
So, yeah, just watching that, and then he was explaining the magic bullet thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Where it went through Kennedy's neck and then did a little zigzag, hit
Right.
Connolly, then a shoulder, and then it moved the other way, and then
Yeah.
into his leg.
That's a classic scene that they spoofed on Seinfeld too. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously more to it than Lee Harvey Oswald as a singular killer, but is it to the point where, the X guy is saying the American government was shutting down airports and all these things? You don't know. That's the part where it's like,
Yeah, but
how big was it?
Stone showed that they all knew each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
All those guys, Ruby,
Mhm.
and all those
The Tommy Lee Jones character. Yeah.
right, and Pesci's character, they
Right.
were all hanging out together.
And so many of those people, yeah, mysteriously dying just shortly
right,
after,
And they were all mysteriously dying, and they knew they were going to die because they didn't want to give, him any information, Garrison any information.
Yeah.
So it was like really eye-opening.
Indeed, yeah.
But the thing was, that the Warren Commission didn't have the Zapruder, film, so they didn't have that as evidence. But even still, like that magic bullet and stuff, and then the government said they can explain it with physics. I don't know what kind of physics they were using.
Yeah, exactly.
I took physics, in school and stuff like that, twice, high school and college. And I couldn't see any kind of formula that would explain any of that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we could do a whole episode where we just talk about the JFK assassination.
And the thing is that I can't remember now. I think we're close to getting the information released.
Yeah, it's been so many years.
5 or 6 years away.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, maybe we'll find out that there's alien life forms at the same time.
Yeah.
But well, cool. So very good. So I think this is actually going to be an easy one to put together. So at number 1 is going to be Silence of the Lambs, because it was your 1 and my 3. So number 2 is going to be JFK, because it was my 1 and your 5. So now number 3, I think, is going to have to be your number 2, which is Terminator 2. And then number 4 will be my number 2, which is What About Bob? Because I already know what is rated higher on Letterboxd. There's no question. So then number 5 would be your number 3, which is Thelma and Louise.
Okay.
Because my number 3 was Silence of the Lambs. So now, before we read it out, what was your honorable mention?
City Slickers.
Ah, yes, that was a good one.
Yes.
I remember we saw that one in the theater together.
Yeah, we did see that one in the theater.
Yeah, great cast, man.
Yeah,
Billy
Jack
Crystal. Yeah, Jack Palance was great.
Palance. He stole the movie,
Oh, yeah.
away from Billy Crystal, basically.
Totally, yeah. Lighting matches on his face and stuff. Yeah. Oh, and then Daniel Stern was great.
Stern was great too.
Bruno Kirby. Yeah.
Yeah.
A really funny movie.
For people who haven't seen it, it was basically a bunch of city people going to a dude ranch,
Right.
For a vacation and stuff like that.
And all the male characters are having like a midlife crisis in different ways.
Yeah.
And that it helps them get through it. But yeah, really funny stuff throughout the movie.
Yeah. So at the end, obviously, they turn into like real cowboys.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, in a way, it's kind of a Western.
The journey there was, the good parts of the movie.
Yes, indeed. So mine is also a comedy, which almost made my list, but Father of the Bride.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That was a good one with Steve Martin and the great Martin Short also.
Yeah.
Playing the wedding decorator guy with the ridiculous accent.
I mean, there were so many great movies this year.
Yeah. I mean, the 90s, I mean, we say, I don't know, it's hard to say if the 80s or the 90s, those were my top 2 decades, I think, for movie history. I don't know about you, but it just felt like it was just constantly great stuff coming out.
Yeah, I mean, the movies that come out now, it's like all CGI, all special effects, car crashes.
Yeah, I don't know how people aren't getting tired of like all the Marvel movies at this point. Not to say like that they're bad. I don't personally get into them that much, but it just they all start feeling the same after a while. Especially the look of them, like you mentioned, all the CGI, like just being over the top. It feels like you're watching a video game half the time.
Yeah.
Which I guess some people like that, but I don't know.
Well, apparently a lot of people like it, but then there's nothing else.
Right.
Yeah. The movies,
Yeah, well, things are starting to open up though. I don't know what's coming out in theaters soon. I think there's a couple things, but nothing that I'm really looking forward to yet.
Well, the only one I'm looking forward to really is the next James Bond movie.
Oh yeah. That is it finally getting a release date or
I'm not
it's
sure.
been like 2 years or something.
It's like,
Yeah. Crazy.
It's going to be an old man in a wheelchair before, the movie seems to get released and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think Wonder Woman did that great. I mean, even though it was during the virus thing,
Yeah.
and it came out, on, like cable and stuff like that, but I think people are getting tired of all these superhero movies and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, James Bond, that'll be a good one. The Top Gun sequel, whenever that comes out. I know that'll be a cool one to see in the theater as well.
Yeah, it would be interesting, that one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's going to be a great movie, but it would be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Special effects wise, anyway,
I mean, if they do the aerial scenes like they did in the first one,
Yeah.
it would be like really, really good.
All right, so let's count down the official list. So here we go. The top 5 movies of 1991. At number 5, Thelma and Louise. At number 4, What About Bob? At number 3, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. At number 2, JFK. And at number 1, The Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Check us out. The next episode, we're going to go straight into 1992, another great year in movies. So if you like this, check out some of our other stuff. We've already talked from 1975 all the way through. So you can check out and like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. So we'll see you on the next one.
We also did some special episodes also.
Yes.
And actors
and father and son movies.
And father and son.
I can't believe we've been doing this for like a whole year now. It's crazy. But all right, well, I'll see you on the next one. Love you.
Love you too.
All right, bye.